A new study finds more conflict in the workplace. Welcome back to Techstination. I'm Fred Fishkin. Joining us from Let's Grow Leaders are founders, CEO Karin and President David Dye. Great to meet you.
Oh, thanks so much for having us, Fred.
Delighted to be here.
Well, first, give us a bit of background about Let's Grow Leaders. Tell us about the company.
Yes, so we are known for very practical tools and techniques for human-centered leaders. We work across a variety of industries all over the world and really helping managers get great results without losing their soul or mind in the process.
And you work with some pretty well-known companies as well, I see.
Yeah, we do. We work broad range, all the way from so Nestle in Switzerland. We have a huge project that we've been doing with them over the last couple of years, and we also work with a lot of tech. Fast-growing venture-backed tech startups is another sweet spot for us.
All right. Well, let's hear about this study that we talked about at the top here. Tell us about this new research.
Yeah, so our publisher approached us with this concept of talking about powerful phrases for dealing with workplace conflict. And when we said, yes, we'll write the book, we wanted to know what was happening now, because obviously conflict has been a part of the workplace for forever. But what is different today, especially coming out of the pandemic? So we surveyed over 5,000 people in more than 45 different countries around the world, asking a couple of questions. And you referenced one of those findings at the beginning, but we wanted to know, is there more or less workplace conflict? Or what are you experiencing? What are the causes? What are the impacts? And then we also asked, tell us about a significant conflict you've had in your career. And then what would be your advice to yourself if you could go back and give yourself advice about that? So that was at a treetop level, some of the questions that we were asking. And as you referenced, Fred, yes, 70% of folks said that they are experiencing the same or more conflict in the workplace today than they were just a few years ago. But what's fascinating is the 30% who said they're experiencing less. You dive into those numbers a little bit, half of those folks say they're experiencing less because they escaped. They left a job where there was a lot of conflict. They left the workplace and they're working from home, so they're not having interaction with people. And what's lost in all of that is, yeah, they're not having the conflict, but they're also not having the collaboration, the creativity, the new ideas that push innovation forward. So that's a top level finding about what's going on right now.
And do we look at the pandemic and the move to work at home, and many, I guess, still haven't returned to an office, as a cause for some of this, or is it a good thing, bad thing? What have you found?
You know, it's really a new breed of conflict. So you still have all of the interpersonal things that were going on before, but now you've got these complex cocktails of conflict. So you've got people who are now working from home, they are isolated, they still have some of the mental health challenges that are lingering from the pandemic. They're longing for so many people are longing for connection, but also enjoying working from home. So that's complex. We've got rapid changes in technology that are happening. And many people, because of the shift to more remote work, are now working in more matrixed global environment, so they don't have the regular contact with people. And all of that is creating a sense of stress. So David, why don't you share some of those findings about,
Yeah, when you look at the data, in answer to your question, Fred, the top two contributing factors to more conflict at work were overwhelm, burnout, and understaffing, which we continue to experience in many industries after. Related to what Karin was talking about, poor management practices. And before we, get upset at managers, they're facing an unprecedented level of complexity in their work today because of increased worker demands for good things, right? Human-centered connection, empathy, support, increasing pressure to get results in a more competitive world. But then also all of that in this, again, cocktail, this mix of the hybrid workplace that nobody's equipped to do yet, the matrix, the time zone, geographic separation, so all of those management challenges that managers are still very much on the cutting edge of learning how to deal with. And then the pandemic related mental health and anxiety was, those first two are 27%, and the third one there, pandemic related mental health anxiety, 21% of folks. And those are the top three contributing factors to more workplace conflict today.
And is some of the burnout and stress due to this understaffing, which may be, I suppose, in many instances, unintentional. Companies having trouble finding people to work.
Yeah, we saw also an interesting dynamic there. So you've got understaffing, so people are working extra hard in many industries, and because they can't find the talent. And then you also have frustrated customers, right? Because there's longer wait times and you've got this tip creep. So that again is this dynamic of understaffing, tired, frustrated customers. And so people are on edge as they're coming together, and you're having more frequent conflict that way as well.
What are some of the bright spots here? Some of the positives that maybe you found?
Yeah, yeah, a couple of them that came out in the survey that were hopeful signs for us. One is when you ask people about the impact, the effects of conflict. There are many that you would think of. Most of us, when we think of workplace conflict, we automatically go to things like stress, people leaving, lower quality work, my productivity suffers, and yeah, all that's there. But also, there were 12% of folks who said the quality of work improves because we have healthy, productive conflict. Positive policy changes that come about. 10% of people said, yeah, I've seen positive policy changes come about because of some of that conflict at work, and more innovation and creativity. So all of those were sort of the three kind of positive benefits. And really that's what we're after here is when we talk about conflict, it doesn't have to be destructive. Conflict at work can be healthy, productive, creative, and collaborative when we do it well.
Does this have anything to do with the political climate that sort of permeates everything, I suppose?
Yeah, for sure. When we did ask all of the contributing factors, and I shared the top three with you: the overwhelm, burnout, poor management practice, mental health, and so on. Domestic and international politics are in there. They're more in the 9-10% range for people reporting that those were causes. So it's definitely there. And then there's a more atmospheric polarization that takes place. And you can look at social media and a lot of those realms for some of the cause of that, where we get in our echo chambers and you're bombarded every day with news feeds that, just ramp up your anxiety for no reason. The 10 zucchini recipes you can't live without. And oh my God, what are you doing without these? That kind of intense, like, oh. And so there is some of that also, just that's in the ether that amps up some of that conflict as well.
Well, tell us about the book coming out, because maybe it's going to help us deal with all of this.
Yeah, I think the good news is that care-filled words really make a difference. And if we can equip people with some approaches to handling and conflict well, leaning into collaboration. And so in the book, we talk about 4 dimensions of healthy conflict and communication, and really starting with human connection. Are we connected as human beings? Because if you already have a relationship with someone and they do something that is going to tick you off, you are more likely to give them the benefit of the doubt if that relationship is there. And so we talk in the book about goats, our greatest of all time powerful phrases, and we have 3 goats for each of the 4 dimensions. So an example of a connection goat is to start the conversation. So you're feeling conflict, you step back and you say, hey, Fred, I really care about you, and I am confident that we can find a solution we can both work with here. And so you're expressing the connection, and you're also expressing the confidence. Another connection goat is when somebody is talking and they're upset, you say, can you tell me more about that? So you're showing that you really care. And then another way to express that connection is to reflect back the emotion you're hearing, not telling people what they're feeling, but gosh, Fred, it really sounds like you're frustrated about this. I care about you. I'd love to hear more about that, And so that's an example of connection.
Interesting. So the book arrives when? Tell us more.
So it's available for pre-order now. In fact, it's actually going on sale this week with Barnes and Noble for people who are there, but at any retailer, and it goes on sale in May 14th, or it's available May 14th.
Powerful phrases for dealing with workplace conflict. And the website that you have is, where should people go for more info?
Yeah, letsgrowleaders.com.
Terrific. Karin and David, thank you so much for spending time with us.
It's been absolutely our pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks, Fred.